trademark class in law school. Obviously, I filed numerous trademarks, but there are two ways you can get trademark protection on something. You can file it with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and to the extent that it goes through the examination process, they allow the mark, and you issue it, it now becomes a registered mark. That's when you see the R in a circle at the end of a mark. That's letting you know that somebody has filed a trademark application and has been through an examination process with the USPTO, and the USPTO has allowed the mark. Now you get a registered issued trademark in that case. And the importance of that issued trademark is you get a presumption of validity. It's presumed that your mark is valid. And therefore, when you go to sue somebody, not saying that the person still can't try to cancel your mark for one reason or another, but it is presumed by the courts and the USPTO that the mark is valid. Now, the second way you can get a trademark is common law rights. That means that you're not filing the trademark application with the USPTO, but you are using a name, in this case, the local pizzeria, and by you using a name, you get common law trademark rights. Now, those common law rights to that trademark or to that brand name only extends to the geographical areas that you're using a mark. So in this case, the local pizzeria is only used in the state of Missouri. So he can't claim common law rights to the trademark in Michigan, in California, in Florida, in Georgia, and Colorado. He has to stay within the area that he was using a mark in, which is in this case, Missouri. Furthermore, you can sue somebody for trademark infringement, even though you're claiming common law rights to your trademark. In other words, you haven't registered it with the USPTO, but you're using it. You're claiming common law rights based on your use. You can sue somebody for trademark infringement, but you don't get that presumption of validity that we talked about, that you get when you actually have a registered trademark. And now, when it goes to court, it's 5 categories. Y'all gotta, hopefully this is going to be important because I want y'all to participate and let me know what you guys think. It's 5 categories that the court is going to look at to see if the mark that you're claiming common law rights to, is it even a trademark? Is it even eligible for trademark protection? You have a generic term or generic mark, and those can never be trademarked. So think of a generic mark as the word bread or the word aspirin. A lot of people, they'll say, hey, do you have some aspirin? And they may be talking about a Tylenol or an Aleve, but headache medicine is so synonymous with the term aspirin that aspirin is a generic mark, and therefore you cannot protect the word or get a trademark on the term aspirin. So that's the first category, generic marks. You cannot get a trademark on these terms. Now, the second category is descriptive terms. And these are marks that they can't be registered initially, but over time, the more the public has become accustomed to that mark being associated with your business, we call that secondary meaning, it can then become a trademark. So just think of the term American Airlines. It describes the nature of the goods, the services, and what is going on. So American Airlines, it's an airline in America that describes what's going on, the function, the quality, the purpose of the company. Another example is the Weather Channel. It's a channel that talks about the weather. That's another descriptive term that describes the nature of the goods and services being provided. Those are not you can't register those things immediately, but over time, the more people have become associated with that mark and that mark being associated with the company, it can become protectable. The last 3 are if you got a term that falls within the last 3 buckets, you're good to go. These are terms that could be protectable. The next one is suggestive. It doesn't describe the nature of the services and goods, similar to a descriptive term that we talked about, but it suggests what's going on. And it takes some imagination on you as a consumer to try to figure out what goods and services that the owner is providing. Think of Netflix. Okay, you have the net. Okay, that's internet. You have Flix, which is kind of pictures. I'm not sure. It takes some imagination on what is being provided, which in this case is a streaming service. Think of Facebook. Okay, Facebook. I got to use my imagination to come up with what it is that Facebook is providing as a service. In that case, is a social media networking platform. So those are suggestive terms. And the extent that your mark is a suggestive term, it can get trademark. You can have a trademark on a suggestive term at the beginning. Now, descriptive terms, you can't get it at the beginning. You maybe can get it over time if it has what they call secondary meaning, or if the public is aware that this mark has become associated with your company. Suggestive terms, you can get those at the beginning. So Netflix was able to get a trademark on their term at the beginning. Facebook was able to get a trademark on their word at the beginning. The next category is arbitrary, and it's a word, but it's not used in a way that you would think of the word. So apple, we normally think of the apple as being a fruit. In this case, the technology company Apple is using it for technology products. So it's a word that exists, that being Apple, but it's used in a way that we don't ordinarily think of it, and that's with regard to technology products. That gets it gets even more stronger protection than a suggestive. Suggestive, you can get it at the beginning, but an arbitrary mark, it gets very strong protection. Think of Amazon. Amazon is a warrior, is normally meant to be a warrior or a bird, but Amazon is using it for, again, their platform being able to buy and sell goods. So that's a use of an arbitrary mark, and it gets very strong protection. And the last bucket is a fanciful mark. That's a completely made up word. You see it a lot with the drug companies. Those drug names that you can't even pronounce, those are fanciful marks, and that get the strongest form of protection. Some other marks is Adidas, Nike. These are made up words strictly for the business. And arbitrary and fanciful marks get the strongest form of protection. Suggestive, you can get it at the beginning, and it's still for strong protection. Generic, what we talked about, you cannot get at all. And descriptive marks, you can't get at the beginning, but you can get it over time as it acquires what we call secondary meaning, or in other words, the more the public, the masses are they know this mark to be associated with your company. So with all that being said, where do you think the local pizzeria falls in? Do you think it's a generic mark? Do you think it's a descriptive mark? Do you think it's a suggestive mark, an arbitrary mark, and a fanciful mark? I need you guys to participate in the chat and let me know what bucket that's going to fall in, because that's going to be important, because there's no presumption of validity since it's a common law term, there's no presumption of validity. So when the court goes through its analysis, it's going to even say whether or not the term local pizzeria is even protectable. Is it even a strong enough mark to get protection? Please let me know in the chat what you guys think. And as we do that, it seems like we have some chats that I'm gonna get to. So it seems like Brandon Denson is saying, if you have a business, you always need to purchase any website domains and also secure all social media handles. It's a must. And I think that's very wise advice. And this is more so from a strategic standpoint.